Picture this. It's Tuesday. You're hunched over your desk, poking at a wilted salad you grabbed from the office fridge. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead and your phone pings with a news alert. You glance at the screen, half expecting another meme, but instead it's a headline that makes your stomach drop. Some CEO just bought a private island. Yes, an actual island, complete with palm trees and a helipad. The article gushes about their visionary leadership and record-breaking bonus, as if buying a slice of paradise is just another Tuesday for them. Meanwhile, you're staring at your nearly empty wallet, mentally calculating if you can stretch your last 20 bucks until payday. Maybe you'll skip coffee this week, or split groceries with your roommate? Again, every dollar feels like it has to do the work of 10. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie, it's the daily reality for millions of young people. The struggle isn't just about money, it's about dignity, about feeling like you're running a race where the finish line keeps moving further away. The gap between corporate execs and everyone else has become a chasm. It's not just a difference in paychecks, it's a difference in worlds. While some people debate which luxury car to buy, others are just hoping their bus isn't late so they can make it to their second job. Their bonuses look like phone numbers. Their yachts have yachts. They throw parties that cost more than your annual salary, and their problems are which Mediterranean port to dock in next. Gen Z did everything right. Got the degrees, learned the skills, hustled through unpaid internships, yet can barely afford rent in cities where even a shoebox apartment costs a fortune. The promise was, work hard and you'll make it. But for many, that promise feels broken. So how did we get here? Why are the people running the show raking in billions while the rest of us hustle for basic necessities? Why does it feel like the system is rigged, rewarding the few at the expense of the many? It's not just an economic issue, it's a generational one. Gen Z is inheriting a world where the rules have changed, and the old playbook doesn't work anymore. The frustration is real, and it's growing. We see the contrast every day. Record profits for companies, side hustles for us. While corporations celebrate their best quarters ever, young people juggle multiple gigs just to keep the lights on. Gen Z is asking the question that makes CEOs sweat. Does it have to be this way? Spoiler, absolutely not. The system wasn't handed down from the heavens, it was built by people, and it can be changed by people too. The revolution is brewing, and it starts with that question. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it begins when a generation refuses to accept the status quo, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Let's talk numbers. When it comes to pay, the difference between the top and everyone else is more than just a statistic. It's a story about how our economy has changed and who it's left behind. Back in 1965, CEOs made about 20 times what their average worker made. That meant if a worker earned $5,000 a year, the CEO took home $100,000. It was a big gap, but it still felt somewhat connected to the reality of the workplace. Fast forward to today, and that ratio has exploded. Now, CEOs make 344 times more than the average worker. Imagine the same worker earning $50,000. Now the CEO is pocketing over $17 million. For every single dollar you earn, the CEO gets $344. That's not just a gap, it's a gulf, and it's only getting wider. Are CEOs working 344 times harder, longer, or smarter than their employees? Of course not. The workday still has only 24 hours, no matter your title. Since 1978, CEO pay has exploded by over 1,400%. Meanwhile, worker pay has barely budged, just keeping pace with inflation, if that. The cost of living rises, but paychecks for most people stay stubbornly flat. At companies like Amazon, Walmart, and McDonald's, CEOs rake in tens of millions every year. Meanwhile, millions of workers, often the backbone of these companies, struggle to get by on minimum wage, juggling multiple jobs just to make ends meet. The federal minimum wage? Still stuck at $7.25 an hour. It hasn't changed since 2009, even as the price of rent, groceries, and healthcare keeps climbing. This isn't just about a handful of CEOs at the very top. Executive pay across the board is skyrocketing, while the wages of everyday workers remain stagnant. The rewards are going to the few, not the many. The system funnels more and more wealth upward, leaving only crumbs for the rest. The divide is visible everywhere, from luxury penthouses to neighborhoods struggling to get by. Gen Z is waking up to this reality. They see that those crumbs aren't enough to build a future, buy a home, or even cover basic bills. They're questioning why the system is stacked against them. The pay gap isn't just a gap anymore. It's a canyon, a deep divide that's shaping the lives and opportunities of an entire generation. But it doesn't have to stay this way. It's time to bridge the canyon and build a future where everyone's work is valued and rewarded fairly. Want to see the impact of this pay canyon? Just open TikTok. Gen Z is brutally honest about their finances. #pay transparency videos show every dollar earned and spent. The story's the same decent job, but after rent, loans, and groceries, there's nothing left. These aren't irresponsible spenders. They're college grads working full-time, forced to make impossible choices. Loud budgeting is trending. "Sorry, it's not in the budget" is now a badge of solidarity, not shame. Gen Z is done pretending. They're choosing honesty over appearances, community over competition. Side hustles aren't passion projects, they're survival. The American dream used to be about climbing the ladder. Now, it's running on a hamster wheel just to stay afloat. And Gen Z is tired of running in circles. When you point out the pay gap, companies claim times are tough, but their earnings reports tell a different story. Record profits, not struggle. So where does the money go? Not to workers, but to the top and to shareholders. Companies spend billions on stock buybacks, inflating share prices, and executive bonuses. In 2023, S&P 500 companies spent over $800 billion on buybacks, money that could have gone to workers. Instead, it's a deliberate choice. Reward shareholders, not employees. Employees are seen as costs, not assets. The resources to pay fairly are there. The will is not. This isn't economic necessity, it's corporate greed, and Gen Z is calling it out. Remember the Great Resignation? It wasn't about laziness. It was about refusing exploitation. Gen Z led the charge, demanding more than low pay and toxic workplaces. They grew up watching economic crises and learned that corporate loyalty is a one-way street. Now, they value flexibility, mental health, and purpose over blind loyalty. Gen Z asks tough questions in interviews. What's the pay? What's your mental health policy? They're not sacrificing well-being for a paycheck that barely covers rent. Social media is their tool, sharing salaries, exposing toxic workplaces, organizing for better conditions. Job hopping isn't flakiness, it's strategy. Gen Z is forcing companies to rethink everything. The power dynamic is shifting, and it's just the beginning. Enter quiet quitting, not slacking off, but setting boundaries. It's about doing your job, doing it well, and not giving free labor. No more answering emails at night or taking on unpaid projects. Gen Z is rejecting hustle culture and reclaiming personal time. The backlash? Managers call it laziness, but really, it exposes how much companies rely on unpaid extra effort. Quiet quitting is a negotiation. Want more? Pay more. Overtime? Pay for it. More responsibility? Promotion and raise. It's not quitting your job. It's quitting the idea that you owe your life to a company. It's a demand for respect and fair compensation. When an entire generation sets boundaries, the system has to change. Gen Z isn't lazy. They're sane. And they're rewriting the rules. If quiet quitting is the silent protest, unionizing is the loud one. Unions are back, and Gen Z is leading the charge, organizing at Starbucks, Amazon, Apple, and more. They're using TikTok, encrypted chats, and crowdfunding to organize and fight for better pay and conditions. Alone, you have little power. Together, you have leverage. A union contract can turn a dead-end job into a career with dignity. This new labor movement is diverse and inclusive, fighting for everyone, part-timers, gig workers, and more. It's not just about pay. It's about justice and a voice at work. Gen Z sees unions as a tool for equity and democracy, and they're not waiting for permission. We know the problem. Now what's the fix? First, raise the minimum wage. $7.25 is a joke. $15 or more, indexed to inflation, is a start. Second, make it easier to form unions. Pass laws like the PRO Act to protect organizing. Third, rein in CEO pay. Tax companies with extreme pay gaps. Close stock buyback loopholes, and reward companies that invest in workers. This isn't about punishing success. It's about sharing the wealth workers help create. The rules can change. They must. A stronger labor movement is the best check on corporate power. We need policies that reward work, not just wealth. The solutions are there. We just need the will. It's time to rewrite the rules. We've seen the numbers, heard the stories, and laid out the blueprint. The facts are clear, and the need for change is undeniable. We've explored the challenges, the victories, and the roadblocks that stand in the way of progress. Now, the next step is up to you, but nothing changes without you. Real transformation starts when individuals like you decide to take action, to step out of your comfort zone, and to make your voice heard. This isn't a spectator sport, it's a movement. Every person who joins in, every voice that speaks up, adds momentum to the cause. You are not alone in this fight. Start by breaking the silence. Talk about your pay, use #PayTransparency, and share your story. When you open up, you empower others to do the same, and together, you create a ripple effect that can't be ignored. Knowledge is power. Don't let companies hoard it. Share information, ask questions, and demand transparency. The more we know, the stronger we become. Support companies that do right by workers. Choose to spend your money and your time with businesses that value fairness, equity, and respect for all employees. Ask tough questions in interviews. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo or to push for the answers you deserve. Your curiosity and courage can inspire change from within. Organize if you need to. Find allies, build networks, and stand together. Collective action is one of the most powerful tools we have. You have more power than you think, especially together. Stay engaged, stay hopeful. Change is already happening, and every small victory matters. Gen Z is rewriting the rules of work in real time. This is your moment to shape the future, to demand better, and to leave a legacy of fairness for generations to come. Get informed, get loud, get organized. Use your platforms, your creativity, and your passion to amplify the message and rally others to the cause. Demand better, not just for yourself, but for everyone. Stand up for your peers, your co-workers, and your community. A system where CEOs make billions while workers can't afford groceries is unjust. We all deserve dignity, respect, and a fair shot at a good life. It's time to fix it. The future is in your hands. Let's build it together.